G'day everyone. Today I'm going to be taking you for a sneak peek of Perth City. We went into Perth City for a quick trip and had a look around with my mum and my son. And because it was end of year and Christmas time, there were many things on in town, lots of things to see and do. Plus you never know what you'll see in Perth City. Perth City has changed a lot over the last few years. We also are going to have a look around the relatively new Elizabeth Quay, which doesn't have much construction going on there anymore. But we will start out by looking at our shopping malls, or just malls as we would call them. We will also take a quick look at the other side of Perth, which you only see here or there, but I do believe is on the rise after COVID. We drove in on a beautiful summer's day. It was quite warm, and stopped on the way to look at our RAC Arena, which is where a lot of our major events are held. We parked up the car and walked into town, and like most major towns, the streets are covered in all sorts of shops, little restaurants, apartments and business buildings. What makes the malls different, as you can see in this shot, is the bollards at the end that stop cars from going in. They are our walking alleys only, where they are reserved purely for on-foot shopping. Here is a close-up of Perth City showing the malls. The malls are the sections of street from here to here. They're parallel to each other, and London Court, which I am about to show you, also runs here. This whole section here, as you can see, is walking only, unless you get a permit from the council for a special event or reason to get your car in. This is the mall entrance to London Court. London Court was built in 1937 and is a unique Tudor-style arcade in the heart of Perth. It was designed to look like a 16th century English street, and it's full of charm with timber beams, gargoyles and old world vibe. Apparently, it's the only one of its kind in Australia. There are two clock towers, one at either end, and one has a knight above it that chimes, and the other shows St. George slaying a dragon. As we saw on the map, it connects St. George's Terrace, a busy street, to Hay Street Mall. It is a seriously popular tourist attraction and also a great spot to stop, have a coffee or do some shopping. There are heaps of cool little shops along here. This statue, known as the Handstand Man, is a tribute to Percy Button, a famous street performer from the 1920s to 1950s. His statue is right next to the UGG store. UGG typically make goods from sheep's wool and sheep's skin, but they are most famous for their UGG boots. I absolutely love my UGG boots, but you have to make sure you get genuine ones. As you can see, we are right in the middle of Boxing Day sales. My mum and my wife made good use of this, and Perth City was very busy with people. Well, quite busy for Perth, that is. I've been to other places of the world which are much busier. Here we are walking between the two parallel malls because you can see cars on the street. This is typical of our malls. There are a few Aussie souvenir shops that sell all Aussie hats and trinkets, as you'll find in all major cities throughout Australia. The city of Perth goes to some effort at different times of the year to decorate the city for different events. Here you can still see some of its Christmas decorations. The girls did a lot of shopping while me and Luke amused ourselves as best we could. The girls bought some stuff too. There was this busker playing in the mall, and an older lady was there loving every second of it, as you can see. It was a 33-degree day in Perth on this day, which for Perth in summer is quite warm, but not too hot to go out. Now pause the video and leave me a comment explaining what you think this Second Life store sign means. I was in Perth though for one shop, my camera shop, and I haven't been here much since COVID happened, and this store has closed down permanently. After the girls were done shopping, and once me and Luke were quite bored out of our skulls, we decided to head down to Elizabeth Quay, which is a newer section of Perth, which is basically a big waterfront area that has been dug out of the land, with heaps of new restaurants and hotels and shops put all the way around. It's about a 10-minute walk to get there, and as we are in holiday mode being the end of the year, we looked forward to it. Not having been in the heart of town for some time, these are a new addition for Perth City as far as I'm aware. We have seen them in Stockholm and other cities on our travels, but this is a first for me in Perth. This is an art piece on the way there, and I'm not sure what they are meant to be. The Elizabeth Quay Fun Fair was on while we were there, and is still on for a few more days until January 6th. This was absolutely awesome for kids from about the ages 3 to 12 or 13. Luke wasn't really that interested in much of this. In one of my previous videos, which I'll put the link on screen now for, I showed South Perth where this Transperth ferry left from. This is the other side of the river at Elizabeth Quays where the Transperth ferry arrives at. So people leaving South Perth can get to the city via this ferry. Elizabeth Quay is also extremely popular for boaties, as we call them. They'll take their boat from their pen and sail or motor on into the city, park up in Elizabeth Quay, and be able to visit lots of different small restaurants or bars, and here comes some now. This is extremely typical of an Aussie thing to do. For the fair, there was also a train with lots of little carriages which made its way around the loop of Elizabeth Quay, over the bridge and back around again. We sat here for quite some time and the train was extremely popular. The kids absolutely loved it, and from the sign on the side it appears that the train usually lives out in the Swan Valley somewhere, and they had brought it into town for this event. Rides out on the river are also very popular with tourists in this little boat here. I'm not exactly what sort of boat you would call this. A gondola is the wrong word, but it is extremely popular during summer. You see, all sorts of things went out and about in Perth City, and we weren't really sure what was going on here or why he was being spoken to, but it was quite entertaining because when he got given his ticket, he literally just walked off and the police didn't follow him. It was now time to get home, and so we started making our way back. I found this amusing. You can get something French in Perth. Unfortunately, Perth also sees its share of people sleeping rough on the streets and also rubbish from time to time in places. But it also has its beautiful old buildings, not old compared to European standards, but old for Western Australia. Fun fact, the land on which this Wesley church sits was purchased back in 1830 for £400. That's only approximately 1,000 Australian dollars. This one here that we're seeing at the end of the Hay Street Mall is the Perth Town Hall, which was built in 1867. A fun fact here is this whole building was built by both convicts and free people. For anyone who's not familiar with Australian history, a lot of first settlers in Australia were British convicts who came over here as prisoners and were forced to do labour. This plaque here says that the first telephone call that happened in Western Australia went from this building to Fremantle. And this is the foundation stone of this building. Well, at this point we'd had a lovely day and we headed back to our car, which was parked in the Wilson Park. For the next video to keep practicing your English, click on the video in the corner.